It looks like we're live for Liberty Libations here. I am your host, not Jake Green. I'm Brad Binkley, as Jake couldn't make it today because Texas A&M is in the NCAA tournament and they have a game right now. So he's producing in one ear, watching the game in the other. He knew that someone who's a Georgia Tech fan, a lowly Georgia Tech fan, could make it tonight as they never make the tournament. Thank you for joining us on the show today. Nick, Alden, everybody else abandoned us because they're doing whatever. Zach's with his kid. Okay, we get it. But we got a lot to talk about tonight on Liberty Libations. I think first we should say congratulations to Afro Man.
Yeah, apparently.
We were talking about that. What a great – people don't – I mean, that's a fun thing, but that's also a First Amendment free speech thing. And if you're not familiar with the story, we're not going to go into it right now, but Afro Man's a legend, dude. He's a legend. I got to meet him. You guys might have if you were at the National Convention in 2024.
Nice.
I met him. I took a picture with him, and then I made sure. I think Jake was podcasting at the time, and I was like, fuck that. I'm going to go find Afro Man. And I went down there, and I was in the room while he was singing his songs.
Yeah.
And that was just a good time.
He's a legend, dude. What he did to the Ohio Police Department that targeted him for some pretty bogus charges, some of them anyway, is legendary. So good. That's a good First Amendment defamation win because there's going to be a lot of defamation cases over conspiracy theories in the coming years. So it's one to hang on to. First topic of the show tonight is Oracle, correct? It's the power grab by Larry Ellison and Oracle. That guy's like 95 years old, and he looks like he's 95 with a plastic surgery that makes him look like he's 60. He's a very odd guy. And this video here, this woman is describing the power grab that could happen when it comes to media very shortly.
Announced that this war with Iran is going to last about 4 weeks, and that's a very specific amount of time. So I want to talk about what I think he's covering for. This weekend, the largest media merger in American history closed. So now one family is about to control CNN, HBO, CBS, Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, all running on Oracle's infrastructure. And that same family also happens to own Oracle's infrastructure. And it just so happens that Oracle, within the last 2 weeks, has won brand new contracts to host Medicare and Medicaid data for over 150 million Americans and to run Air Force operations using AI. That's right. Who needs separation between church and state when you can have AI run across all of those contracts? Oh, and see if you can find anything wrong with how this is being paid for, because Larry Ellison is personally guaranteeing $44.6 million of this $6 billion merger by using his Oracle stocks as collateral. And that stock price depends on Oracle's federal contracts, the ones that your tax dollars pay for. So the government pays Oracle, and then that revenue supports Oracle's stock, and then Ellison pledges that stock to finance his son's purchase of the largest media company in American history. And then Oracle becomes the infrastructure beneath that company, so Oracle becomes the infrastructure, the collateral, and the beneficiary on every side of the same transaction. So you mean to tell me that public money flows into Oracle and then the Ellison media empire pops out the other end? Oh, and then in the merger filings, Oracle is listed as a neutral third-party vendor. I'm sorry, is the neutrality in the room with us? Oh, but don't worry, you say, because another couple $1 billion of this merger is coming from Saudi Arabia and Qatar, the same governments we're currently at war alongside in Iran. Right. So I spent this last weekend writing a brief that specifically calls on Congress to require a conflict of interest review before this merger closes, demand data firewall protections between Oracle's government contracts and the media infrastructure it's now holding, and to treat Oracle exactly as it is in this merger, not a third-party vendor, but as the financial backbone of the entire transaction.
So what do you guys think? You guys have a problem with a major corporation owning most of the media with access to all that data? Is that really a big problem? Starting with you, Nick, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's one of those things that, from a libertarian perspective, we're always accused of being the ones, oh, we love big business, and it would be characterized that this is free market. And really, I think the core of the matter here is kind of what she's saying is, yeah, you get those federal contracts that are guaranteed and back it up there, and then you turn around and use the value of that to then buy up everything. It's the same sort of oligarchy type moves that that everyone complains about with the Russians, and you kind of look at everything, and a lot of stuff's owned by the same 5-6 companies. And it seems that the Ellison empire is just really making a move on that, because they also made a move on TikTok, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. hmm
Right. So, you've got the new media, TikTok, which seems to be where all the young people are and where people can pretty easily make their own news, make their own content, all the way through to these old dinosaurs like CNN and everything that even things people enjoy, like shows on HBO. I mean, it's in the media landscape there. So what? Time Warner is that, but they've also got what bought Paramount too. Is this updated, or is
I
this?
think it'll end up being like 80% of media or something.
Yeah, I believe 80% was the number, which it's still 20%.
There's 20% left. Yeah. But when 80% is owned by the same vested interest and have the same message, that's concerning for, a lot of reasons. Just we're not getting a depth of, angles of stories. And then you have the cultural problem of like, it feels like just this, like, like when pop song comes out and it sucks and you just play it enough and then people are like, oh wait, no, I like it. Like,
right.
I feel like that's what's happening with news, where it's just like you say it enough and it becomes true in people's minds.
Exactly. It becomes kind of seared in their unconscious mind as an absolute fact, as Candace Owens might say, that it goes unquestioned if it is repeated enough on as many screens. And I believe he was given some sort of AI contract right at the beginning of Trump's administration, if I remember correctly. It's all of this is what's curious about it to me is that you're going to see the outrage from the left now, and the outrage used to be from the right, because it used to be, it felt like more left-leaning types of corporations. And I think they all tend to be kind of the same, but it used to be the other way. It used to be, it's controlled by the Democrats and those on the left. Now they're saying it's controlled by those on the right. I think more than anything else, this kind of illustrates that it's really similar interest have kind of been behind things altogether. And then when you connect this guy to his interest in Israel and the IDF, then you start to get into the Iran war stuff, as she did, that can get kind of, like what's going on here. Alden, what are your thoughts on that connection to it?
With the war?
Yeah, like this guy's one of the biggest donors to the IDF, according to.
Yep. I was going to say, I that's one of the things that I'm worried about is like if you get that many sources that have one angle on a war and then don't let you critique another side of the war and like start to make these policies on something like, especially like TikTok, and not just like a news outlet, but something where people are trying to like talk and interact on it. And if you start having people not be able to criticize, Israel or whatever, and like, it's just going to be more and more funneling and bubbling down into like one way and one narrative and one way of thinking, and no platform for anyone to critique. And then the people that have a differing opinion are going to have to go to the smaller platforms, the last 20%, and then they're going to be seen as like the tinfoil hatters or whatever, which is already my life story.
Right. And I think that this kind of leads into the next story that we're going to talk about, because for them to, I'm not echoing right now, am I?
Not to me.
No.
Good. Okay, good.
Is the screen on your end looking weird?
No.
Yeah, I see like a weird little thing over here.
I've got like the main screen, and then like
I see my
half of the
hands.
screen
Yeah.
next
Okay,
to
so
it.
the thing over there, that's the Instagram. That's like the other feed. It shows a TikTok feed.
I'm old. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I X that one out usually because it did distract me, but I can't do it on my end.
I didn't bring it up because I don't know anything. So.
I hadn't seen that before, and I just
It's a new
saw
feature
pop
that
up.
StreamYard is. StreamYard's like, we're going to triple the cost, so we'll throw in some experimental features and see how they go.
We fear change.
So, in order for them to use this 80% that they have, whoever's using it, they have to have the trust of the public, which is something that they lost during COVID. And I think that leads into the next story that we were going to talk about, which is the Bibi Netanyahu, is he dead or alive, narrative that's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to blow my wad on that, but I think there's a lot of conspiracy bait out there to try and destroy trust and credibility in the alternative and conspiratorial media sphere, so that trust can be swung back to the mainstream. Because without that trust, that 80% of something that nobody believes is 80% of nothing. So they need people to distrust those who they started trusting and start trusting these media corporations again. And that's why I think that we've seen them start to sound more reasonable, start to sound more middle of the road and not
That's
as
an
extreme.
interesting point.
And I let's pull up that second story, which was the craziness that went on about Bibi Netanyahu. Let's watch this video here.
שמשנים את מאזן הכוחות במזרח התיכון וגם מעבר לו.
Look at the 6 fingers, is the arrow saying. Do you guys see 6? There's 6
I see it's either like a shadow on a palm wrinkle or a 6th finger kind of a thing, but
It's an edited out 6th finger.
an edited out 6th. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
is that what the claim is? It was edited. That's funny.
Yeah, they
This
tried to
one
hide it.
felt, of the clips that I've seen, this one felt the least like obviously AI to me. Like I'm not sure on that one, but the other one felt really like that, like orangey glossy kind of a look, and like, you know, there was other things in the background that were more weird, and that one felt
Right.
like more possibly. I don't want to get ahead of us, but
No, I mean that's what there's another there was another video here, and this is I think what you're talking about here.
You know, but I have to tell you, I'm alive. I was card. No. And yeah, don't
Got a
worry.
list.
I'm
So
alive.
it's a punch card. Today I raised 2 names on the punch card
Look at his ear. There are 2 ear canals.
on this batch.
Yeah, the ear is really odd.
My name is not on the punch card.
You don't have
Your
that?
name is on the list.
Oh wow, now his ear looks even weirder. It's like just changed.
As you stare at it, yeah, it looks odd.
I'm doing it.
Man, AI is like a drug trip.
Very proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with him.
Like the haircut's completely different from what, you know, looks at least different than what it normally does.
Need to deliver them.
But it's like he looks a lot thinner in this than that other picture.
Yeah.
There's also just like
In the
this
face.
glazed over like lack of definition a lot of
Yeah.
the times in the face, like where there's not as
Huckabee
much-
should have to suck him off. Then I'll believe he's real.
Yeah.
I mean, it's physical activity between the 2 individuals. So this kind of thing, I'm starting to think that it's on purpose. And this
very
is
well
something
could
they've
be.
done in the past. There's the guy who was Cass Sunstein was the propaganda in chief basically for Obama. And you have the 60s after the JFK assassination when they had the declassified documents talked about discrediting conspiracy theorists. And part of that effort is to flood all of these things out there that are conspiracies to get people to latch onto and run with. And some of this stuff to me
to
seems
like muddy the water of the conspiracy
absolutely.
theories that are accurate and yeah.
discredit people because
Yeah.
what I see in the conspiracy arena, alternative media, is anything that's put out there, people just jump on. It's like, if it's a conspiracy, I believe it, I'm going to spread it wide. And then you have these big influencers, which I lean towards some of them they know what they're doing and maybe they're getting paid to do it, but I can't prove that 100%. But if you put that out there, this group of people that has credibility are going to be discrediting themselves when something comes out and it shows that it's not true. Now, what do you guys think about those videos? Do you think he's dead or alive? We'll start with you, Nick.
Yeah. So, and there was a third one too. So you showed here the first one and the third one. There was a second one of him in a coffee shop.
I remember that
And
one.
you
That
could,
was-
and
Yeah.
on that one you could see like he moves the cup of coffee and like you could see liquid move. It looked unnaturally, but nothing spilled. And then
Mhm.
he picks it up and drinks and brings it back down and not
the level
like a big
doesn't-
sip, and the level doesn't change. And
Yeah.
then he puts his hand into the pocket, and like the pocket moves up on the hand. Like
Didn't the screen on
It's-
the POS on the computer also say like 2024 or some kind of a thing
Yeah.
too? Like there's a bunch of weird
there
stuff.
it
מה
is.
שאלת אותי? ראש הממשלה אומרים ברשת שאתה בכלל מת? אני מת על קפה, אתה יודע מה? אני מת על העם שלי. איך הם מתנהגים,
I'm
פנטסטי.
just drinking my coffee with
רוצה
my 5
לספור
fingers.
אצבעות? אתה יכול להראות לנו?
I only have 5 fingers.
היית? יפה מאוד. לחיים. אני חושב של המסר לאנשים שיוצאים ומתאווררים? לצאת להתאוורר, אבל ליד מרחב מוגן.
that level didn't change
והעמידה
on it
שלכם
at
היא
all.
מדהימה, נותנת כוח לי, לממשלה,
Who knows?
לצה"ל, למוסד.
I'm
אנחנו
not,
עושים
like,
דברים
Jumping at anything
שאני לא יכול
yet
לשתף
because
ברגע זה,
I'm like
אבל עושים
also
דברים
waiting to see
מכים
does he just like turn
חזק
up at some
מאוד גם
press
ביום
conference
הזה.
or something?
גם
Or do they
ליברמן
pull
he
Biden
did.
on us and it's
ממשיכים,
like some
אתם
guy in a
אומרים לי,
mask? I don't know.
להמשיך?
And, yeah,
So-
and I think he was doing a press conference earlier today.
He was.
Oh,
and
today did he? I didn't see that.
There was a quote going around everywhere because he said something about evil defeats good or something.
He said he's
Okay.
alive. He clarified that I am alive. He thought it was real funny. I am alive. I'm alive.
Yeah.
So I haven't looked too closely at that press conference today, besides like the headlines going around. But what I've noticed this whole time with this Iran war is it's just been that constant stream of misinformation. You know, you get a whole bunch of videos popping up of bombs and explosions, and they're like, it's this, and then you look at the community notes and they go, no, actually that was this. And you know, and it comes from a variety of sources, which really does feel like it.
Right.
You know, are they baiting people? Some of these bigger accounts into doing it, or are these guys not even checking anything and just posting? Or
yeah, right.
what?
This is
or
like a
what's going
plot
on there?
from the show Newsroom, like where someone tried to like bait them into airing a story with like false information to discredit them or whatever. Like this is like a whole thing on that show. Anyway, it's.
I mean, that's
but
a
do
real
know
thing
it's
that they
very
do.
possible.
That's like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we have. You have Nancy Pelosi was talking about the wrap up smear or whatever, where I don't even remember her definition of it, but there's just a number of documented tactics that they use to spread disinformation and the use of disinformation to their own benefit. And
the whole like Mockingbird program that the CIA was doing,
right.
but since like the 60s or whatever. Like,
and the fog of war too is something that is definitely real. And the idea that on social media you have to immediately know the answer, you have to immediately know what your conclusion and your take is, or your, you know, that's your currency on there.
Your currency is like quick and click, like it's not being right necessarily.
Not
like,
truth.
Yeah.
Truth is never actually, because nuance and truth is nuance, is never going to get you much attention there. And this is what is this, another like an AI video?
Is this where someone morphed it into someone else, or?
This is Kamini in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
So you can just, as he's saying, like, you can just put anybody in that.
Yeah, I guess.
And do that. And so what's real when you look at that? What that's
it does feel like it could be trying to shake the confidence in the alternative, you know, reporters or whatever, and like so that when everyone's only looking at the mainstream media, then we'll see the next, I don't know, fucking aliens attack or whatever the hell is going to happen next or whatever, you know, and then we'll only trust quote unquote mainstream media for whatever big thing.
Like I've told you guys about this clip, and I don't have it right now ready, but in 2021 at the World Economic Forum, they said, and Klaus Schwab was at the head, was one of the people facilitating this meeting, that never before in the history of time have the elites been more united in their goals, and never before at the same time have the world public been more distrusting of the elites. And the point was, she concluded, saying that we have to win back trust in order to push our agenda forward. And ever since then, the World Economic Forum meetings have been so heavily about disrupting distrust, mimicking authenticity, and
mimicking authenticity is such a.
It's crazy. It's like it's like uncanny valley. It's like these aliens trying to be like real people that they see. Hey, let's go put Jim Acosta and Cuomo in their basement to pretend like they're real people. You know, and this is so. What happened to them to lose trust was this. People, even though maybe they didn't necessarily trust the mainstream all the way, they trusted their side more or less. But during COVID, that trust was destroyed because of their just blatant lies, which they would then reveal on themselves because they'd have these shifting narratives with Fauci and all that. And so they kind of destroyed their own credibility with the help of alternative media pointing it out. So you have to tear them down. And then people are kind of like, and they don't know where to go. And so then they start seeking out these alternative sources, and these alternative sources they identify with, they seem to be earnestly pursuing the truth, and they find those people who they trust. My show, we gained a lot of popularity during that time because I personally was, and my mom was sick, and I was in the front lines. It's a weird term to use, but I was just trying to report honest stuff as best I could, and we built.
That's
up
not what
following.
Gravy Onyx is saying in the chat.
Yeah.
What do you say? Was about Brett. Oh my God.
He's just
Oh my
lining
God.
two things up. Yeah.
Get him out of the chat. Get him out of the chat right now. Get him out of the chat.
He's been banned from the chat room, y'all.
For real though, I love Gravionics. He's great. For real though, so what they would have to do to win back that trust is they need to destroy the credibility of those who people have started to trust, and then people are going to go searching again, and then here we are acting reasonable, and we're going to try and wipe all that craziness out of your mind. That's kind of what I see. I'm not saying that there's not some of these conspiracies that are going on, but as conspiracy theorists, we have to be, the reason we were better than them during COVID is because we used more discernment and we analyzed things better. And now if you throw out any conspiracy that we jump on, and we jump on all of it and we just say, yes, that's a conspiracy, then we're setting ourselves up for disaster. And
I feel for the people that are just kind of starting to exercise a conspiracy muscle today in the era of AI, because like when I started years ago, like one of my things I dove really, everyone knows this that's been following the show, 9/11 was like one of the things that got me asking questions and opened the door to me to all this stuff. I see stuff come up today, and I've seen damn near everything there is to see on 9/11. And I'll see footage come up today of something from 9/11. I'm like, what? Where was this, 25 years ago or whatever? But there's a lot of people in the comments that are like agreeing with what I would say is the narrative of 9/11, but then using this piece as evidence. And I'm like, no, hold on. You're right, but not about this. Like this didn't exist then. This is AI, and I am worried about, people attaching to it, even if you're right about the broader thing. Well, I don't want to say just, I agree with them or whatever, but even if we could hypothetically say it is a fact, you are right. But even when you're right and you're pinning it on this, it doesn't look good. And someone can help.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
Like that is such an excellent point, is if you're going to prove something, prove it with evidence that's not going to discredit you.
Yes. And it's getting trickier and trickier now. Yeah. Especially if you don't have legs in this for a long time and able to kind of but when new things come up, even for me, I have to do a lot more to sniff out stuff than I used to.
It's tough, man. It comes so rapidly, and it's a weird phrase to say, but nevertheless, Nick, what are your thoughts on? Do you have any opinion on whether he's dead or alive, or this discussion we're talking about?
In the spirit of what we're saying, I am honestly just kind of waiting until the dust settles, and because I am not an influencer in the traditional sense of anything, and I don't care. If I can just be like, hey, I'm just waiting to see. And so I don't even want to venture to say. I'm going to wait until more pieces come out or whatever. I will say the things that I can say is that there's some sus things about the footage, but I'm not going to make a connection to he's dead or not officially based on that. I'll just be like, the footage looks pretty sus to me. But that could mean other things. Like you were saying, it could mean we're getting baited into an assumption, and that's a whole other narrative thread that could be very possible. So
we could ask Jake, do you think we could make somebody look completely different using camera lens and filters and whatnot?
Yes, you can. Easily. With two different lenses, somebody can look completely different.
Yep, absolutely. Nick, what are your thoughts on the whole situation?
Yeah. So, like I said, there was that press conference today with the quote going around. That I watched it. I didn't look too deeply into it to see if people were making the AI claims, but I have a suspicion that this might be the press conference where they're finally not whatever. And I think it's very reasonable to assume that maybe these videos were AI generated or made to look AI generated or edited to come up with these little imperfections to throw it out there. And to cause that, little bit of reputational damage to people jumping on it. Yeah, I was having fun in some of the chats I'm in with Netanyahu's dead stuff. But yeah, I think a lot of those videos were popping with the AI detection. There's some odd things going on in them. So
and
it's very possible. Yeah, like you're saying, it's very possible that they put it out there as a psyop to get a whole bunch of people going, hey, this is weird. What if he's dead? They had a story going on too about, oh yeah, this reporter was tracking around Netanyahu's location publicly, and that could have led to this strike that might have hit that might have killed him, hitting him at this place he was or something too. So there was a narrative going around that, oh, he could have been dead. You've got these AI videos, and it allows you to say, oh, look, you bought this whole Netanyahu's dead thing. He's perfectly well and alive. And I think that's actually what we might be seeing here.
It's maybe he's dead. At some point, he will die. You know, and like everybody. That? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe he got the super adrenochrome. But yeah, the circumstances are such that we are primed to be set up, and setting us up, setting the people who have taken trust away. You have to look at it like that. We have taken trust away from them, and they want to destroy that. So they're going to use their whatever powers they have, which are they're mighty, to destroy that trust, and it might not be in the way that we expect it. And I think this could be just part of that, which, as you were saying, Alden, we have to use discernment, and we don't have to have the answer right away, which is not friendly to the algorithm on social media. Like, if he's dead and I'm wrong, I don't know if he's dead or alive, but if he's definitely dead, I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm not, doesn't hurt my ego. I don't care. So many people are connected to outcomes about all of these things when that kind of shades the way that they analyze it. So Nick, you said you were
connected to process than outcome at this point.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. How did people respond to you when you were questioning this? And you said you were questioning it on, I don't know what platform, but how was the response?
I mean, it was mostly private chats of the type of people who would go along and have fun with he's dead narrative. So, you know, it's not like it was in a public forum where I'm getting all sorts of random reactions, but you know, there was a lot of back and forth in there about, is he dead or is he not actually? You know, we're debating the first video, and then I happened to catch before anyone else there that second the coffee shop video went up. I threw it out there. A little while later, someone else comes back and throws like the tweets showing an analysis coming back saying this is likely AI footage. This is likely AI.
It was like 60 to 80% range that people were getting, depending on which program you use to analyze it. For the coffee shop one was saying AI.
It's funny.
And then it was saying like 97% likely not AI for the photo of him, like, you know, laying dead or whatever, which is an interesting. But but that's not a video. That's a one still image, and you could spend a lot longer editing one or two images to look real or whatever. So I'm also not even advocating for this.
What do y'all think about Alex Jones's theory that the Israeli government murdered him and are trying to pin it on Iran?
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Was my question was, what if he is dead? What does it mean? So I didn't see Alex's theory, but I mean, wouldn't that be who killed him? Definitely Iran.
What do you think about the theory that Alex Jones is actually Bill Hicks? You ever heard of that?
That was one of my favorite early ones.
Yeah. I have no idea, but I just think that's hilarious to think about.
Yeah. Well, so I think that would definitely be reason. You know, how would that? So would that? That's a good question, Jake. If it was true, let's say if this is true that Iran, and we're just speculating, if this is true that they killed Bibi Netanyahu, which they're at war with each other, what would that galvanize people? What do you guys think?
I mean, like in the martyr sense or whatever, like
a
death of a leader totally could have like a lot of power going one way or the other, depending on who was the person to kill them, because it gives like power to the victor, you know. So yeah, if you were able to muffle that by, you know, kind of diffusing it across time and letting it be kind of this weird question instead of this like definitive, you know, answer or whatever, then it could definitely take power away from it.
Is he popular in Israel? I'm not even sure about. Nick, what do you think?
I think it's pretty split, just like Trump here, where it's like some people love him and some people hate him, I think. But
I think he's I don't think he's the most popular. He's fairly unpopular. I mean, that's why he's done everything. It's just, it seems Likud seems to know how to control all the elections, get the right people on board. And even whenever Likud's in the, you know, doesn't have a straight up majority, they find their way to be the ones kind of leading whatever coalition government they have. Because there was that time a couple years back where they tried to force Netanyahu out, and it was like this. Oh yeah, I'll be prime minister first, and then you can have prime minister after that. And I don't know if that actually ever happened, but it like caused a whole bunch of elections over and over. I mean, he's facing, he has to keep winning prime minister because the Israeli courts keep letting him off on the hide out from the corruption charges he's facing. That they can't prosecute him while he's prime minister, I guess. So he keeps running for running as prime minister.
Give him a pardon, Trump says. Pardon, baby.
Yeah.
He's done no wrong.
Well, not to go too off topic, the school bombing of the kids, the girls' school bombing, that story struck me because obviously it's awful. Whoever did it, it's terrible. But it was so on the nose when it comes to wartime
In Iran
stories.
school.
The Iranian school, the girls' school,
yeah.
it was like 112 or something like that. Girls that got killed, and it was just so on the money for what happens during war. Like those are always the atrocity stories you hear where it's both sides blame each other. They have these explanations that definitively say it's the other side, and this happened so early in the war, and then Iran said it was us, and then people saying it wasn't us, not the administration, are like, well, it was definitely an errant missile that Iran did it. But then the administration is like, oh, we're looking into it. Maybe maybe we did it. Which is kind of, it was almost like a normalization of, yeah, it's war, it sucks. We would never, and then at the same breath, it's only they would target children. But maybe we did it. We can't say, we're investigating.
They bombed their own children. It was a false flag, and to make it look like we did, or whatever.
We didn't even say that, though.
Yeah, no.
Well, Donald Trump did try to claim that.
At first
Did
he did?
really?
At one point, yeah, he was like, oh, it could have been them. They could have gotten the
Jesus, I didn't
tomahawk for that. And then, but
I was kidding.
if you watch the Tucker interview that came out yesterday with Joe Kent, Tucker straight up asked him, hey, do we get targeting intelligence from the Israelis? And he said, yes, we do get targeting information from the Israelis. All sorts of information could be shared. It could have very well been Israeli intelligence that gave that targeting. And they're playing this game so that it doesn't,
I see.
Where, we made a mistake. We had bad intel. We had, it was something there, or that was an old map, I think is what it's at now. Like we were using old information on this and it was wrong.
So it could have been a little trickery from the Israeli side of it.
It could have been, but I mean, as rough as rough as the Israelis can be with this stuff, and like no one's ever and they're not we look at what they've done in Gaza and what they're doing in Lebanon right now as everything's going on. A strike, like purposely targeting a school of girls in Iran seems even to me like a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, it seems
I
like
could be wrong. Like
And
in the opening salvo, I would think that you're looking better targets than that. So
I honestly would not put it past him, but
so I think it's like this idea of war, and you go back to the Vikings, and they would kill the children. I'm not saying
they
that
would
we
take
did
mushrooms first, and that's what the berserker thing was, right?
Like I'm not
wild-
saying we did this. I don't know what happened. I don't know the truth, but the fact that we're not even right now anyway, the official narrative is that we're not fully denying it. This has been turned into a Christian versus Muslim thing for a lot of people. People who voted for Trump on no foreign wars are now pro foreign wars because of the Christian versus Muslim.
See, that's the identity shift thing where it forces you to grab onto like one like value or identity piece or whatever, and
They're going to kill us if we
pivot,
don't
you got to
get it.
hang on to one. Yeah,
Alden, keep doing that previous motion, please.
Yeah.
Just repeatedly.
you got to
you're
switch
showing-
values like
You're
this.
getting both
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Christian and the Muslim in
Yeah.
there on that one. And they will sin all day with that.
Yeah, it's
so
Jew cocky.
it's
Sorry, that I shouldn't have said that. Even I was like, well, that's too far.
so that's what 120 girls, Muslim girls, who are never going to have children. Never going to have any Muslim children. How many kids might they? I don't know what the average number of kids a Muslim girl has growing up, but at least, you know, a couple hundred future Muslims that are never going to be born. I'm not saying that's on purpose, but I'm saying if we're talking in you know, we're going back hundreds of years, and that's a strategy.
If you give it 14 years, I think it's like 1 million.
You think it's 1 million?
You know, the math, man.
14
Oh,
generations.
I'm not a math. Yeah, you're talking about the kid. Oh, right. No, yeah. So their kids and their
You
kids.
extrapolate it out, you know.
Actually, yeah, no. My extrapolation is very limited on that that number. But that's exactly right. Actually,
It depends on how far you go out, but it's many. But
and I'm not saying that that's why it was done. But if this is actually a religious war, then that's something that happens in religious wars.
mm-hmm.
Am I far out? Like that's not.
No, I can see what you're saying with like if you have, but I would even say one in war in general. There's a lot of some pretty bold, like hardcore justification of dark things, and then how many wars aren't seen as religious by someone until maybe very modern, you know? But I don't know. It feels. To me,
you know, it's weird. Give me an argument. Give me an argument that you didn't do it. Like, give me something. Like, give me like seriously. Even they don't even seem to be.
They don't
trying.
feel compelled to do that, that's not a great look. But
no, it's not. It's
it's
bothersome.
I agree that accidentally. How do you? I mean, even on fucking Google Earth, I can be like, oh, that's a school. Let's not hit that. And I know I don't have as good a tech as people with missiles have, even in any country. Like.
Did they even? I don't even think they've argued. Not to harp on it. That they were hiding behind them. That's usually. I don't know. It's just a weird.
Yeah, they did argue that.
In school, yeah.
I had that thought today whenever I was listening to that Tucker interview. I'm like, hey, they didn't make the argument. Oh no, the bad guys are under the school or something like that, like they did in Gaza so much. And I was waiting for that to come out. Like, oh, we had to. I mean, they were using human shields. What
the
do you
WMDs
expect
were under the gym? Like, yeah.
Right.
That's not even a line they've gone to right now.
Yeah.
And so that's why this whole thing is like different. It's like there wasn't a big build up for to support it beforehand. There was a little bit of it, but afterhand they just threw like a bunch of different explanations out. I think to appeal to public opinion, see which works, which doesn't.
If we're gonna make like a parallel too, like because I just brought up the whole WMD thing, like to 2 decades ago, we were at war in Iraq, and it was like, at least it was full of shit. And, but at least they like tried to make some bogus line where they connected, where it's like, we're here for this. There's nukes under his bathroom and we got to go take care of it. And it was definitely him that did 9/11, and we got to go spend a fucking $1 zillion.
And isn't it different now? Isn't it very different?
I think so. I think it felt like it happened overnight and we were given no reason. And we're just like, I don't know, it's happening. I
think they looked at it and said, yeah, no one's going to buy it. I mean, we've all looked at God, because we know it was coming from Israel. We all went there immediately. We went, this is for Israel. This is a war for Israel.
Totally.
And after Gaza, I think Israel knows they weren't going to win a propaganda war on this one like they did with Iraq. And so they just said, fuck it, we're going to do it. And that's why you get the explanation of, oh, we're not in a war, it's just strikes. And then you get the other explanation from the same administration.
Yeah.
We've been at war with them for 47 years.
Jake's got a video that is compliments this.
And there was one development yesterday. It builds on reporting MS Now had earlier. Iran offered to give away all of its enriched uranium during the peace talks. And hours later, the U.S. started dropping bombs. And The Guardian broke yesterday that there were British officials. The British National Security Advisor was present in Geneva during that last round of talks. The British were surprised by the Iranian offer. They thought it was credible. They thought the talks should continue. And the British were shocked when the Trump administration started bombing Iran hours later.
David?
Nick, what are your thoughts on that clip?
I mean, I think it's generally stuff we know, right? The decision was made. We're going. And it didn't matter what the Iranians said or did. It was, Israel wants this. This is probably the last chance they're going to have at it, and we're going to take it. And, if there's one thing there's a reason Netanyahu's been here so many times. Miriam Adelson gave however many hundreds of millions of dollars to the Trump campaign and running congressional races. So, of course, that buys something, and it's probably, the honest conversation is probably, everyone who's not a fucking boomer is against this. Like, is against what's going on in Gaza, against that. Everyone who's not a boomer or some insane Zionist is straight up against. The last chance you're going to get is right now. And so you've got to do it right now. And then they spin the games, this excuse, that excuse. Oh, Iran's going to attack Israel. And, if we don't do this right now, and, it's the same story we've heard from Netanyahu for decades at this point. But hey, their last shot before, probably this whole, Zionist control hopefully falls off. We're going to see in the midterms, I think, if that Zionist money is helpful or hurtful, right? We're going to look at the Thomas Massey race, who we talked about last week, and his poll numbers went up after the Trump event he had with Ed Galrin, his opponent, and everyone knows at this point that they're throwing tens of millions of dollars, largely from Adelson and Paul Singer and some of these other big name Zionist guys who are focused on that. And Massey's out there raising money from small donors who believe in what he's doing. And so, is that going to take down AIPAC? Because AIPAC had, the Israeli money for a while there seemed to have that control. But I think, the cracks are showing. And I think this midterm, we're really going to see, hey, is this Zionist control over our politicians starting to fade? And, who knows, it can come back again. But I think as this starts to break, and as like the religious aspect of the Zionism, and people start realizing, that's not great theology, and this doesn't make much sense, as that starts to break, I think you're going to start losing a whole lot of the domestic support for whatever Israel says.
Is there, not to put you on the spot, Alden, is there a counter argument to this that we're not seeing?
I mean, I was going to ask if the timeline of this was true, like if what they were saying in that clip like played out the way that they said, where it's like, hey, like if you give us your enriched uranium, like we'll ease up or whatever, and then they like go to make that happen, and then they get bombed anyway. Because I was stuck on, if that's truly how it was going down, then that feels like a bully that's like, give me your lunch money or I won't give you a wedgie. And then like the kid starts fishing around in his pockets for money, and he fucking wedgies him and takes his money,
Right. And so I see MS
so if it's
now,
like that, it doesn't look good. I don't know.
If it's exactly like it was presented there, it doesn't look good. But I see MS now, and their slant is always one particular way, one particular way. And then just that the British, I don't, the British are, historically a little bit shady with a number of things, especially when it comes to Trump. They have been, they were behind a lot of that Russian collusion stuff in 2016, and so. There's a lot of context that I think is missing there, that it looks damning, that I do wonder what I do wonder the truth to that.
What the BBC did in the war on terror and that whole era, and like 9/11, and how they reported on some of that, and that gave me some like insight. And so I don't trust them like any more than our media, really.
No, not since 1776. I've never haven't trusted those Brits. But yeah, it goes back to this whole idea of the media that we consume is, what can we believe, what can't we believe? It's when stuff satisfies our confirmation bias, it can make it easy to not pursue information that might undermine what we are preconditioned to believe, because it's more uncomfortable to feel cognitive dissonance and learn something new than it is to satisfy what we think we know. And
to be like socially alienated, like to go out on a limb and get pushback from your friends and family, and because we're like a social species, and to be like, it's that feeling of exile. And like if you're out like on the plank alone, I think that was honestly, there's like this survivalist thing where I think we're really inclined to want to be accepted by the group, because that's safety and numbers kind of a thing. And it was like a death sentence to be exiled socially at one point in our timeline. And so I really think that there's, between cognitive dissonance and that social alienation feeling, to be like truly an outlier and to be able to hold your ground on a principle and to not bend your principle to fit something like we were talking about with like whether it's the party or whatever's flipping around, or if it's like just something that you grew up with and you don't want to lose the respect of the people around you or whatever. These are powerful like psychological principles at play. And I think there's a lot of entities that understand this and how to manipulate us through this.
100%. They've been, what's up, Tony? They've been studying this stuff for long before most of us are even aware of it. Like you have a 100-year advantage when it comes to studying social psychology, and you can read the propaganda books back in the day. The stuff that Edward Bernays wrote about 100 years ago applies perfectly today. The guy, people have the image of John McCain with a heart on through his grave. Nobody's got a bigger heart on through their grave than dead Edward Bernays right now. This is his wet dream that we're living right now. He once said that he was so excited about the rise of cinema because you could reach mass audiences far quicker. And he said it's like being in a room with one person whispering in their ear and speaking to an entire world. Imagine social media to that when it comes to that, the way you can communicate. And that's why I think that they didn't even care about trying to build up the war support beforehand, because I think they're confident in their ability to test a bunch of different explanations afterwards.
And
see
they've
what
seen
the
what they
public
can get
appeal
away
is.
with
And then
other
just pick
things.
the one that most people are okay with and go with it. Have you guys spoken to people who are pro the war? I haven't. My friends that I suspect have been a little bit quiet, and so I haven't.
I was going to say the same thing, that it's I haven't like officially asked, and no one's like officially. I think most of the people that know me know not to even bring shit like this up to me at this point, but so it's fresh enough that I'm not even sure where they officially stand on it. But what about you, Nick?
Yeah, our internet friends all kind of fall on the same spectrum as us, so nothing there. The only other thing would be people at work I bring it up to, and not many are fans of Israel, and so
fair enough.
They
right.
This actually might be the one area that I like agree with some of my family. I will see, but if they are still actually, you know, like anti-war in general, and like if they're still not, some of them are like not, you know, my sister at least or whatever, like has seemed to not be big fans of Israel or in the past or whatever. So like I might not have as much as a friction point between some of the people that I often disagree with other things about like freedom of speech and the whole, like COVID was like a whole thing that I was like, okay, I guess I'm alone on this one, you know, but I be as different for my personal circle with this topic. I'm not sure yet though.
Let me ask you guys this, and we'll get to the drunkard of the week. Is do you guys feel, or have you noticed that there is people taking the anti-Israel, I'm not a fan of Israel position, to the extreme of all the Jews are the problem?
Oh, you know, we've addressed this, or I've brought this up, that I constantly try to reframe that they're not the same thing. The same way that if I critique my nation, I'm not critiquing all of the American people or a culture or a religion or whatever. And that I feel like I wish I didn't have to, but I often reiterate that a critique of a nation is not a critique of a people. And that has, in my mind, seriously nothing to do. Well, I don't want to say, I mean, they're linked, I guess, but like, it's not at the core of any of the decision-making that I make. But I
Nick,
hope it's not as big.
What about you? Have you seen this going on around any social medias you're on?
I mean, yeah, you catch this on the social media. I think there's been a huge rise in it. And yeah, I've always tried to say Israel. I never say the Jews this, the Jews that, right? You know, that's
right.
I agree.
I am focused. I am focused on the policy of Israel, and that's kind of
your 7K shill, obviously.
Yeah.
But like that reasonable response you gave, that gets, whether it's bot activity or real people, it often gets a response like that.
A lot of the times, that's a good point. It is bot activity a lot of the time. Like the people that are stirring up the most shit, if you click on their account that has no photo and 2 followers or whatever, and and I noticed a trend that it would be like a photo. They started to put a photo, but it was like this weird AI mashup of some random person's face on a movie frame, like from the Terminator or some shit. But it would stick some woman's face on to Sarah Connor in the Terminator or some shit, like, and it would have 3 followers, and they would be just throwing out some racist shit, and you're like, why? What is the, you know? But then you got to ask, who's in charge of this, and like who stands to benefit from this? And just stirring up. Anyway, it's ugly.
We think we talked about it a little bit last week or the other week or whatever, that like you see this, you know, you see a lot of activity from certain accounts that originate from certain places.
Certain places, yeah.
Well, because now that you can see where the account's based in on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
it's where all the farms are.
And so you see a whole lot of random stuff comes from accounts based in India. Although what you find there is a lot of pro-Israeli propaganda that comes out of the accounts based in India.
But it's probably more just who's paying them. I don't know if it has anything to do with their political affiliations in as a nation of India.
Yeah,
it's like a call center version of social
media.
Right.
Yeah. It's interesting because like
if
go ahead.
If you and I think they're supposed to be working on that. If you can filter, you know, accounts based in and filter out India, I think Twitter looks very, very different.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. Because right now it's you know, most social media is a cesspool, but Twitter has gotten to the point where it's either bot activity or it's people jumping on the bandwagon of bot activity, and
it does stir up organic response though, so that's true too.
Absolutely,
like,
it's all the bandwagon effect, man.
Yeah,
like it works.
Yep,
and so you have these people who are jumping on the bandwagon of saying more and more extreme things that you never would have been. So you have the right, you have more of an ability to criticize Israel than you ever have before on a place like X. And now it seems to have been taken to an extreme, I think intentionally, to the point of where we go back to the Larry Ellison thing. He's got the 80% control he's about to get, and he's the biggest donor to the IDF, the video claimed, and that I know there's at least some truth in that. I think Bibi Netanyahu loves what he's seeing if he's still alive with his 6 fingers.
I was going to tie it back to that too and be like, also, if the debating element of that is a thing, this feels like the same kind of deal.
Yeah, they're going to shut it all down.
Getting into a quote unquote organic racist type of response, and then point to it and be like, see, this is why we can't have
absolutely. And they're going to have these number of lawsuits that come out that are defamation lawsuits that they're going to use as examples. They're going to conflate all conspiracies with anti-Semitism. And then not only will you not be able to question Israel, if you question the next vaccine or the next new mRNA thing, then you are all of a sudden that is an anti-Semitic thing. So all conspiracy speech is anti-Semitic speech, and I think that.
And if you can get someone like Trump or Marjorie Taylor Greene or some figure that is kind of crazy and outspoken that a lot of people hate, and if you get them to say one right thing, like the broken clock is right twice a day kind of thing, then everyone will, because they hate them so much, they'll sweep that in with all the other junk that they say that's complete trash, and they'll say, well, that's wrong too, and then but that's how they can put little bits in that you'll throw away.
That's the model, dude. You just described the model right there. Let's move on to the drunkard of the week.
I am not fucking drunk.
Well, 19th or blue.
Every pretty girl deserves to go to a ball.
This is everything about it's a clam. I love it.
I gotta be honest with you, I feel like I'm a little bit too drunk to stand up.
On Wiedersehen, asshole.
I'm drunk right now.
Did searching your house gave you the right to do everything you
under the circumstance that I got freedom of speech. After they run around my house with guns and kick down my door, I got the right to kick a can in my backyard, use my freedom of speech, turn my bad times into a good time. Yes, I do. And I think I'm a sport for doing so, because I don't go to their house, kick down their doors, flip them off on their surveillance cameras, then try to play the victim and sue them.
You were at Lisa Phillips's deposition, correct?
Yes, sir.
In your lawyer's office?
Yes, sir.
Same office where you filmed part of that video last Friday?
Yes, sir.
And you saw how upset she was when she was answering your lawyer's questions about how this had affected her, right?
Yes, yes,
And you saw your attorney say, do we need to take a break?
yes,
And you saw her say, no, let's go on and get this over with.
yes, sir.
You saw all that.
Yes.
You knew she was upset.
Just like she knew I was upset when she was standing in front of my kids with an AR-15 with her hand around the trigger ready to shoot me. Just like she knew I was upset when she cut my cameras. But I'm not a person. She is. So I'm sorry for being a victim. Let's talk about the predators.
Okay. So you saw all that. You saw how upset she was. You heard the testimony about her children. You heard the testimony at the depositions about Randy Newland's daughter who came home upset. You heard all that. But you're still posting stuff about
Yeah,
it.
because I understand it was Randy's fault and all of their fault for coming in my house in the first place. So if they hadn't came to my house, their children wouldn't be saying nothing. None of this would be going home if they had did their research and did things right. So all of this is their fault. And now they want to sue me for their mistake.
Is there anything that could change your mind about what you're doing to these deputies?
Is there anything that can change my mind about the fact that they shouldn't have been at my house in the first place? Is there anything that can change my mind about how my money shouldn't have been touched in the first place? No.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We want to be free to do what we want to do. Yeah.
Well
we want to
said.
get loaded. Yeah. And we want to have a good time.
Okay. Also, even if all that didn't happen, if that didn't even transpire at all, he can make a fucking song about it. Like, it don't even matter. Like, I don't even understand. It doesn't even need the true, like, precedent to even be free speech anyway there. But.
Did you guys watch any of the trial, like the questioning that his
Nick
lawyers
did.
did?
I didn't even see it.
Oh, yeah.
It was so funny. Like, he was asking him, he was saying, he said, because the idea was defamation, that his song Lemon Pound Cake was defaming these police officers, when it was all, he's showing the footage of them when they broke into his house. When I met him at the Libertarian Convention with my friend Josh, who was playing Trump, I got a picture of them as best I could during all the chaos. But we said Lemon Pound Cake, man, is great because he got them, and the cop, he said, so you're Lemon Pound Cake. He's like, so the idea was, this is a defamation case, and you're saying that these things aren't true. Why are you called Officer Lemon Pound Cake? Then they played the song during the trial. They actually played it, and they showed the officer on the stand, like looking over, trying to steal the lemon pound cake. It's like, that's why. So this can't be defamation. You're taking the lemon pound cake.
And he while he was on the stand, he's like, when he was asked that, he also said that the station was sent hundreds of lemon pound cakes from people.
Which is so odd. That's the greatest troll ever, dude. It's the greatest troll ever.
He ate them too, you know.
This woman who was crying, she's like taking smiley photos like a bitch, like just being a bitch in his house. And anybody who saw that, which I think they showed that during trial, is like, I don't feel sorry for this woman at all crying. Look at this bullshit she was doing. And
people don't understand how to own the consequences of their behavior in general, I think sometimes. But this is a perfect example of this. And this man's in his right to, express himself with the way he wants this way. And this is, when it comes to like art, this is a commentary of a public service that he's paying for basically too. And that also was wrong. Like, man, I don't
completely, man. This is the greatest unifier I've seen on social media in a long time. His lawyer had one of the cops on the stand, and with the idea being that this song is defamation, this Lemon Pound Cake song, he asked him, he said, have you ever heard, I can't remember who sings it, but he said, have you ever heard so-and-so's song, Wet Ass Pussy?
Yeah, right.
And he started reading the lyrics, and he's like, have you ever, I think it was that woman actually, have you ever seen anybody, do you believe all the lyrics in this? And have your like students in a class she taught, you said they were playing this song, Wet Ass Pussy. Do you think that all of it's 100% true? That they're like, is it defamation? So he was equating it to songs and what people say.
Well, and
in
it's
songs.
true. It's because it is a song and it's art. And if we take this as seriously as you're saying it, then we have to take all art as seriously as we're saying it. And we already have laws protecting the like creative license with this, especially if it's commentary. But Go ahead, Nick.
So the witness that was the only defense witness besides Afro Man that was called, and it was the ex-wife of one of the cops.
That's right.
Oh,
And
I didn't know that.
She was a teacher.
Yeah, she was a teacher, and so he was going
Dickens.
that, and I think she also told them that they all knew what this was going on. They were making like bringing lemon pound cakes to their own like parties and stuff, like
Dude,
on their side they were kind of like having fun with each other. Then they get on the stand and they cry about it.
It's right. It's so brilliant. And at one point he asked there's one cop that was up there who was asked about whether or not he believes, because part of the song was Afro Man talking about having sex with his wife. And he asked him if he believed that Afro Man had sex with his wife. Like he's talking about like defamation. And the guy was just like, I don't know if he had sex with my wife or whatever. And it's just like,
because then it puts him in the position you either have to admit that and you have to like cut out yourself as a cuck, or
it's just,
you got to say no and defeat the whole argument.
But you have to say no, because you're right. So the argument, he's on the stand saying that, hey, he's defaming me by saying he had sex with my wife. And then the lawyer asks, okay, did he? And you can't say, no, he obviously didn't.
Right.
When he was pushed, the lawyer was like, so like, you're not,
it's a bad position
you can't tell me, right? So he took the position of, well, I don't know. It could be true on a defamation case where truth is where truth is
absolute defense.
Where truth doesn't matter.
Yeah. This is the greatest thing. I didn't even realize the trial was happening. I
didn't either, honestly.
He wore the same suit at the Libertarian National Convention 2024.
That's cool.
Well, he dropped. I didn't realize it was happening until Monday morning, right as they were about to go to jury selection. He dropped the music video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of a woman chasing him down the highway.
Well, no, that one was already there. This was, what was it? The Batter Ram hymn of whatever. And he's just, he's Afro Man is gonna screw you.
It's a great people have been saying that's better than Babe Ruth calling a shot. Absolutely, because he was in the right, and it's not like he was denying that he had drugs in his house, but the warrant they went after him for was just extreme. Like he was kidnapping people, and he had just bricks and bricks of drugs, which
it was
none of it turned out
kidnapping
to
and
be
trafficking.
True. Yeah.
So you find like personal use amounts. It's like trying to prosecute that's just not even.
I love that. It made me so happy to see that. And Afro Man.
I mean, I think we're on this one. Are we into the good news section? Is that what this is?
I think this is the start of the good news section.
Do we have videos to go with this before we start going over all the videos? And
we don't have videos to go in the good news section.
Oh my God, who's
okay? So we can just
the good news. The good news section was the drunkard of the week, or the drunkard of the week was just Afro Man's topic. Good news section is something else.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Y'all can keep talking about the Afro Man case. That's no problem at all.
I do for a little
Let's
bit.
talk
more
about Jake actually. And how much
Let's talk about Jake for a little while.
Yeah.
Let's just sing some praises.
Jake is like a modern day Afro Man. Like Afro Man is a modern day. I see Afro Man in my younger days. His music was very inspirational for women getting on the dance floor and doing
getting high.
The kind of dancing you want to do when you're younger. And so now he's got he's rejuvenated, he's back again. And he's a very good musician. He's not just a dude who smokes weed and comes up with lyrics. He's actually a great musician.
Well,
his songs are generally like kind of goofy, and I mean, he's
they're fun.
Yeah. He reminds me of like the rap equivalent of almost like Tenacious D or something, like the sense of humor with how he goes about, but also like good at what you do. Like,
yeah. And super nice. And
he seems like a cool dude. Yeah.
I think one of the funniest parts was when they had the female cop on the stand, and he called her Lick 'em Low Lisa and made a 13-minute song and music video about it.
And they made her
her chasing him down. They shot this. I believe they shot the part of the music video in the same chair in his lawyer's office where she did her deposition. Like it's complete insane
it's the
stuff.
Best
there.
troll. I'm so in awe. I'm inspired by this troll.
It was a 13-minute video. Yeah, a 13-minute video, and then his lawyers play it for her in the courtroom, and she ends up breaking down and crying while it was going on, and I don't think anyone felt bad.
And he makes a video after the first or second day of trial. I think after the first day of trial, saying he does this thing where he's got people behind him. He's like, the crooked judge in Adams County Police defamation trial is trying to, and he's just like, he's giving shit to he don't give a fuck, dude. He still won.
And these people are putting on a show, I think, and acting hurt by words, like the sticks and stones type shit, when they're truly kicking in someone's door with lethal force with his family there, and like you're gonna seriously like have like the gall at this point to like act like you're the victim in all of this. Like it really feels like fucking just clown opposite day shit. It's very frustrating. Right. Goddamn.
What was the line in the song? He's like, are there any kidnapping victims in my suit pockets? He shows him he shows the warrant during it's great. He's my hero right now. And if you haven't seen Lemon Pound Cake or any of this stuff, watch it. It's fun, and I actually think that is a great win for the First Amendment right there. So what is the good news section?
Go ahead and read this one out, Binkley.
Okay, so this is actually insane from at Intellect Us. BTEC guy in Australia, he adopts a cancer-riddled rescue dog with months to live. He pays $3,000 to sequence her tumor DNA, feeds it to ChatGPT and AlphaFold, zero background in biology, identify mutated proteins, match them to drug targets, design custom mRNA cancer vaccine from scratch. Genomics professor is gobsmacked that some puppy lover did this on his own. Need ethics approval to administer it. Red tape takes longer than designing the vaccine. 3 months, finally approved. Drive 10 hours to get Rosie her first injection. Tumor halves. Coat gets glossy again. Dog is alive and happy. A professor says, if we can do this for a dog, why aren't we rolling this out to humans?
We need to protect this man. He's going to die next Thursday.
And then it says, one man with chatbot and $3,000 just outperformed the entire pharmaceutical discovery pipeline. We are going to cure so many diseases, I don't think people realize how good things are going to get. There's the article right there. That's great. I mean, I'm as a dog lover, that makes my heart warm.
Oh, yeah. I had a dog literally named Rosie, so this is a borderline a tearjerker for me.
Yeah, I know that's going to raise questions about mRNA and testing and whatnot.
mRNA is a tool, and it can be used for good or ill.
Good, I agree with that. So
that's what it was initially developed for cancer treatments, not vaccines, right? So
that's what I heard from what's his name, Robert
Malone.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're looking at it, and you've got the technology sitting there, and for a couple $1,000 you can go and target that. I mean, you're talking about cancer here, that it's not like you're injecting this as a cancer vaccine to everyone. You're saying, okay, you have these mutations, I'm going to create this, like you are going to die without the right treatment, so let's do something that's probably going to work. Or
I mean, CRISPR can make a tastier tomato or a zombie plague. I don't know, like it's all of how you use something.
Gravynomics, who looks a lot like a guy named Mitch that I know in that picture, says,
no relation.
Some of that good ChatGPT cancer fake vaccine. This mRNA stuff, the way they did it with COVID was some people said they just want to kill a bunch of people. I don't know that was the intent. I think the idea was, I think it's life extension technology that they want to develop and perfect. And I think that they wanted to test on a whole bunch of different demographics to expedite the development of it without their permission is my belief. And
are you talking about like COVID?
I'm talking about the way they did it with COVID with the mRNA.
As an experiment.
And so
I think it was also a social experiment. I feel like we were experimenting on levels, man. It was like experimentception.
I think if people agree to it, I think if they agree to an experimental testing of something, then that's fine. And I think this is kind of one of those situations where this dog
agree under pressure, though, is different than You know what I
Right.
mean? Like if
Yeah,
you're
I
like,
mean,
hey,
the
you'll
dog
lose your
thing is
job,
not-
that's different than just
Right.
agreeing.
You take
like-
the shot, black
Yeah,
person,
right.
I'm Fauci. Then that's not agreeing. That's
It's perfectly
racism.
safe. Like, yeah. Right.
Right. No, I agree. So that's when it comes to this, because the mRNA stuff is very controversial, and I don't think its purpose is to kill people. I think that they want it to perfect it so they can live forever. So
But then like gatekeep that, you know. Like,
yes,
yeah,
of
yeah.
course, right.
And
We'll
this
never-
is the
this guy will
same
get
thing.
killed, like you said. He's dead. His dog is probably.
Dude,
gonna
I'm
be
worried about it because I was just gonna bring up. We've seen this with people that have invented fucking engines that are more efficient, and then it's like
the
you know how many of
water-based
those
engine.
don't make a bunch of them. Yeah, and there's literally laws that are. I think it's like if it's more than 70% more efficient than the current average engine or whatever, that it automatically gets like locked away. It's actually like a national defense level, some kind of law like that. It has to be sequestered from use or whatever because which is just so fucked up. But I wonder if we're going to end up at a place where we have health level things like this, where if it's something's like, oh, it can extend your lifespan past how much, and it's like, nope, that's not for you. Like,
Or it'll be censored on. You ask ChatGPT or Grok, you ask it, you put in all that information, and it censors itself like you're trying to get it to say the hard R. You know, like, I can't say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to get it to like show you boobies or like say a racist word, and it's like, no, we can't do that. And also we can't help humanity past a certain point either. Like,
You know, that kind of thing. I hope this is true with the dog, but also it is in isolation. So it is good news. You know, the good news in that is that a dog that had cancer seems to be doing well again, and that warms my heart.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it's
But
not
also.
a treatment. Well, let's
Good
also
news,
look
but
at this.
also.
This isn't a cure that came out of big pharma. I mean, like, yeah, a lot of the stuff is, but it's not like it was some big pharma product that this.
Right.
It was a guy who was like, all right, let's
Little
sequence
pharma.
this and then target this, and just some random guy used the AIs to figure out something that seems to have worked.
Yeah.
And the dog is doing well.
This is also
from it.
one case,
So-
and like we don't fully even know if this is like coincidence or if correlation
Right.
equals causation and blah blah blah. But
So if
But
I had a, if
you
I
can
had a
design
dog
experiments on that,
I would
and keep
contact this
doing
guy.
it.
Like
Yeah.
if I wanted to, if I had a dog who I felt was in a similar situation, I would
Right.
contact this guy.
let's
and
meet
see
for
if
lunch
I-
at a place
if I
with
could
a
learn-
rooftop nearby, and we can
Right, where
just
there's a lot of
talk, like-
people around.
Yeah.
You know, you have a bulletproof helmet on.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I would contact him to find out what could be beneficial, because the instinct might be to try to mimic what this person did. And oftentimes, people who do this stuff, I found from my past with my mom and dad, is if you contact them, they will respond because they do have a genuine interest in helping people.
At this level too, like where they're still not, they're like a normal person that just like helped their dog kind of thing, and like they probably would respond at this point to someone who's
think so.
genuine. I would think at least a high chance.
Get me out of here.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
help you.
yeah.
All right, so I see Jake has skipped trivia to save me from embarrassment.
That was so funny last time though, when you were like, so I guess I don't know how this goes, do I? And then just like the trivia like title
Came up,
started,
yeah,
and that,
that's
like,
funny, yeah,
that was
yeah.
actually hilarious.
Yeah,
those-
Binkley,
I
if there's
think-
any topics you want to tackle right now, go for it. Yeah, just do whatever
Let's
you want
talk
at
about
this
abortion.
point.
I'm kidding. Let's just-
This really just light fare. you know,
So
topic.
what's come to top of mind for you guys? Start with you, Alden, and then Nick, just from what we've talked about.
I am curious / a little scared of how we're gonna go in the broader cultural sense of like where we get our news looks like we were bringing up earlier. And since you brought that up as like an option for what if this is just like a bait thing, I'm like, ooh, man, that's been top of my mind through this whole talk. I've been worried that is the case. And if like Netanyahu is like sipping on a margarita somewhere, totally fine or whatever, or if there's someone in a mask sipping on a margarita, whatever, I don't know. I don't care.
Right.
But if the whole point of this was to be a sort of like a test and a bait and to get people to break their trust in alternative media sources or whatever, I'm concerned about a reverting back to mainstream media at this point, especially when it's even gotten just more and more swallowed. And we were also talking about the whole basically 80%. It's like we were just talking about the Pareto distribution rule like last week or whatever, like the 80-20 rule or whatever, where it's like now 80% of your news comes from one fucking source or whatever, basically.
Right. It looks like different sources.
Yeah. And it looks like a variety and option. That's concerning me. But I have hope that there's enough good people out there that, you know, understand this, that we can kind of fight the good fight on it and keep it from going into just fucking monopoly craziness with it. But that's been consuming my thoughts since this.
And I think for me, the key to that is people not getting butthurt when people disagree with them and being able to have a discussion.
There's an individual side of it that is very true. Like the individual side of like your emotional regulation or whatever this is coming from someone who has their own challenges with emotional regulation or whatever. But like, but the ego side of things.
Go more into that. Tell us more.
Oh yeah. Let's go dive into my mental health. That's a great idea.
I'm kidding. Yeah. In modern society, it makes it easy for all of us to have, to get a little like wild sometimes, I think. And for me, it's like and it's so logically, it makes perfect sense, but we're not logical beings. Our emotions dominate our logic. It's
some more than others, I think, but we all.
Well, I think we can get better at it. I think we can all become more Spock-like. I think we all can at recognizing it.
Just separating them. Like, it's not saying emotions are bad, but it's just like, this is not the place for emotion to rule
like,
us.
It's not a personal insult when somebody disagrees with you. And if you're having a conversation and the goal is to confirm what you believe versus the goal being trying to actually open your mind to a truth that might be something that you don't actually believe.
Attach your ego to a goal that will actually kind of like serve you through the course of this. That's a good idea.
It's coming out of the cave. It's like, is your goal coming out of Plato's cave? Because if
Plato's cave, dude.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite, the allegory of the cave is one of my favorite pieces of writing of all time.
I think right now it's never more like it's because, that allegory, you come out of the cave, you see the shining bright light, and it's blinding and it's painful.
And you see real 3D images instead of shadows for the first time. And then you go to tell people this thing you found.
You have to reorient yourself first. You have to reorient yourself and realize that everything you previously believed wasn't true.
Yeah.
And holy cow. And that is painful in and of itself.
It can be shattering. That's true.
A lot of people
I don't
go
mean
back
to breeze over it. You're totally right.
And then you go tell people and they want to kill you. Is the whole idea.
Then they're like, burn the witch.
They just want to kill you. And so that's kind of what it's like when you point out that there might be some deception going on. And that doesn't mean the person pointing out is always wrong, but the way that as society is we all have to and I think more people are recognizing that as we see people are more exposed to propaganda tactics and whatnot, is that the way to get to the truth is to separate ourselves from our preconditioned beliefs about media and what's going on in the world, and like make the thing that's important be discovery of truth, and that's the cool thing. And like it's cool to realize that maybe oh shoot, I was wrong about something. This might be the right thing. That's cool. Instead of holding on to something as like a pride and ego thing.
Even if you have the ego, I like what you're saying about almost like. It's like redefining what it can look like to have an ego, where you're like, wait a minute. If I want to be right, then the best way to be right is to accept that I need to be wrong and then find the right thing. Like the first time you do anything, you're not going to be the best at it. You know, if you drive a car, cook a steak, whatever the hell it is. Politics is no different. I have said before, though, that I think that when it comes to things like culture and politics or whatever, it's kind of like a soft consequence. Like it's not quite as obvious. Like if you burn a steak and it tastes like booty hole and it's like, you're like, all right, I'm willing to admit I fucked it up. I need to let's go look a recipe up.
So how did you know it tasted like that?
No, you haven't had booty hole? No, but for real though, if you go to work on your car and you're like, I can change my oil, and like you put the wrong kind of oil in, it's too viscous or whatever, and it doesn't work for your car, and like you fucking stall out on the highway, you're like, I'm an idiot. Here's this very physical consequence, this like tangible thing that I can see that like, and then I think it's, you go through that humbling where you feel like an idiot, but you get over it. But if there's a way to skirt around it when it's not as like in your face, concrete, obvious, I think we do skirt around it a lot. And politics is like that, where there's like, well, there's always someone out there to tell you you're right. And it's not the same thing as just like my car blew up or something fucking apparent, you know?
Yeah. No, and I think people they're not so brightest when they're the ages between 18 and 25.
I'll say this about myself.
And I think they target younger people. Myself too.
I think so too, actually. Yeah. Well, and we've seen this with like, look at like Nazi Germany or whatever. Everyone points to Nazi Germany. I love looking at Nazi. But they would go into the schools and they would be like, ask your God for candy or whatever, and make the kids. And then they would be like, now pray to Hitler for candy. And they would bring in trash bags. Have you seen this footage where they bring in the candy and stuff? And they were like, pray to Hitler for candy. And then by the end, the kids are like, Hitler, you know. So they know though the start with the kids, but I think that we know this ourselves and we do it a different way. Like, but
you don't even have to give people an X candy, and they will chant Hitler.
Oh yeah, well yeah, sure. Yeah. we don't even need candy now.
Yeah, Nick, candy? What are your thoughts and takeaways from what we've discussed?
Yeah, no, kind of like what Alden was saying at the beginning there, and a whole lot of the discussion, the whole, news landscape now that we have these AI videos coming out and we don't know what's real or what's not. I mean, it's so hard to tell. I mean, you start looking, it's like, is that video AI? Am that real? You can't, like you look at enough videos that you're trying to determine if they're AI or not, and you're like, you start kind of questioning what reality is because you can't trust anything your eyes see at this point. And then on top, even if it's not AI, people pulling old footage and then passing it off as, oh, look at this strike, and then you're checking and they're like, no, this happened here,
or a video game,
this happened here too. And so
a quote from the CIA, by the way, back in the day, is apparently that their goal was to make it people question what is real and not know how to discern reality, basically. But
yeah,
sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Did you hear Alden say he snuck Israel in there? That question, what is real? We see what
Israel. I didn't even catch that.
See what you're doing.
That's funny. That's actually, you're kind of actually cracking into a whole weird thing with like the power of word and whatever, but we do not have a long enough episode for that. But
yeah, linguistics of propaganda. And when I continue, Nick,
basically like spell casting shit.
That was definitely something on my radar this past week, and it had me concerned as I'm looking at these videos claiming, oh, this is a bombing of this, and then the community notes say, no, it's not. Grok says this, and so now you have to spend the time and discern everything of, is this real? Is it AI? No, it's real. Okay, was this saying what it is when it was, or is this some other? And you start seeing big accounts doing it, and it's like, are they either doing it at someone's behest or are they getting fooled by someone else?
So inorganic or organic, and then the next person that they impact, it's the same thing, and it's a ripple effect.
So that's gonna force a move back to some sort of trusted source. And with 80% of the media and all the back end infrastructure, Oracle seems, the Ellison family seems to really be positioned for it, which is quite interesting to see everything kind of align on that. But beyond that, I just really enjoyed the Afro Man trial this week.
Yeah.
I was watching clips of that, and I was watching, I watched the what is it? I caught the clips on Tuesday, and then I was watching. I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. By the time I got it on Monday, and I was watching, they had finished the testimony of the cop's ex-wife. And so that they were breaking, and I watched the closing arguments and jury instructions, and seeing a lawyer have to stand there in the courtroom and make a quote of "I fucked your wife doggy style" is just hilarious.
That was
so specific,
so great. I went to law school for 2 years before I quit to spend the rest of my life doing comedy to pay back all the debt I went in to go to law school.
So you know about getting fucked doggy style?
Yeah, well, by financially.
Right, yeah, of course, that's what I meant.
But watching him, I was like, man, So if I would have known, I could have been his lawyer, and I could have gotten to do, because his lawyer is
He might
just
have
as
followed
pimp as he
through.
is,
Yeah.
dude. like his getting to do say that stuff, and it was so much fun to watch. I loved it.
Do you think that has helped you though? Like your background in this has helped you in your current? Because I would think so. I was
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's definitely when it comes to asking the right questions. The whole thing in law school, and it's the same thing with
how you set things up in your mind is like
well,
the pro and
yeah.
against.
So
and,
I know that if as a conspiracy theorist, and I'm very much a conspiracy theorist, that if I want to, I know that everybody's going to attack your argument in the mainstream, hard, super hard. They're going to go after you.
Yep.
So I have to know what all those
Get ahead of
arguments are
that.
going to be.
Yep.
And so I have to I have to come after my own arguments the same way that they're going to times 10, so that I know exactly so I can dispatch of them. And so that they can't just dismiss whatever. And so that's why I get frustrated when I see the jump on anything and just roll with it, with jumping to conclusions, glossing over details. I'm like, look, we're all called conspiracy theorists, and we're all we gain so much credibility, but we're all going to look bad if we all just start falling into this bait and not doing the thing that we did during COVID, which is make better arguments than them. And we have to go after conspiracy theories that are raised just as hard as we do the mainstream arguments, and not just believe them just because they're conspiracy theories, because that makes us so vulnerable to being baited. I think
I want two terms. I want a distinguishing term for conspiracy theorists that just blindly just goes along with anything that is almost the conformist of conspiracy theory. What'd you say?
Candace Owens.
Oh, just the blanket approach, and then the discerning one.
Conspiracy analyst.
Analyst. Oh yeah, conspiracy analyst. Right. Yeah. I'll take that. But yeah, because I do feel like there's just this one term that is kind of this blanket term now, which, by the way, was either created or
it was a CIA definition.
The CIA, and then again, Obama's administration. I think right now there's going to be a declassified document in years. It's going to lay out what's happening right now, I think.
And it'll be half redacted, and we'll get just enough of it, and then the people that do it, no one will care. I see so many things that come out where it's actually released in public information, and everyone's like, yeah, I don't care. It's frustrating.
No, right, because it comes so much later, and right now, I see these.
That's why they have the 40-year, 50-year release thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because people don't fucking care past a certain point. They know what they're doing.
It's really lately over the Charlie Kirk thing. It has really divided the alternative media, conspiratorial
How do you follow
media.
that?
Well, I don't know what the answer to any of it is.
Going back to we don't have to have a full picture thing. That's fair,
it's a challenge because you have. So I know, and you guys know how a trial works, and
I don't, but that's okay.
But the way that it works is you get an indictment, and the indictment is not the full case. The indictment is not the conviction. The indictment is enough to arrest somebody, and then you have a full case that lays out the details of the trial. And all you need to do is get enough for the indictment to arrest somebody, okay? And so when the trial happens, which it might, I think it should happen quickly, and I think it should happen. It should definitely be public, or
some would say swiftly.
Swiftly,
yeah,
far more suspicion. But so when that happens, and you have on the other side of it, you have, and I always have to qualify this. I have criticized Candace Owens and TPSU and Charlie Kirk for years, for 5 or 6 years since I first encountered them. I have thought TPSU was a cult.
What the hell's TPSU?
Do what?
What's TPSU?
TPUSA, whatever Charlie Kirk's organization is.
I didn't even realize. Oh, okay. That's how little I know about Charlie
They
Kirk,
came off to me as they're arranging marriages. It's a weird thing. And right before he died, I was very critical of him, and I felt bad about it afterwards. I've been called a 7K Israel shill, and even though I've criticized this group far before any of these other cocksuckers who suddenly are trying to get popular off of that idea.
Yeah.
And so Candace used to work. It's crazy that Candace used to work for all these people and got paid. Candace was actually working. She was still under contract with TPUSA.
Really?
December 2025, still getting paid by them, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Most people don't realize that. And Candace has been nothing but I've had firsthand experience with people who made a living being con artists. And that's what Candace is. That's what she's been. That doesn't mean she doesn't say true things. People who are con artists lie using the truth. That
Yeah, I've
you
only
can't
seen
lie without using the fucking
individual
truth.
stories from her. Like I'm not like a huge follower, so like I've only seen like I'll click on her thing. Like she did a whole thing on like Michael Jackson one time, and I like watched that, and I was interested in it. But I'm not honestly. I can't speak.
No, some
for
of the
as a
stuff she
whole.
says is true, and I agree with. But she'll be like, "Can you believe the JFK assassination?" People say, and so she'll say a bunch of things that.
What's her take on JFK? I have no idea. Like,
no, she's like, I don't believe it was. She believes Israel did it. I don't believe it was one shooter. So she says it wasn't. People think it's one shooter, and so she says a bunch of easy bait that get people who are conspiracy theorists to agree with her. And mind
in the
you,
vague sense, like
she's number one on YouTube, and she says things that some of the things she says are true. I've said for years that have gotten my videos taken down. And
of course, yeah.
And so why is she up there saying that? I think she's up there saying that because she also goes to the way extreme to where she says stuff like the Jews are blood libel, and it's crazy that Erica Kirk thinks it's not right to have hatred towards the Jews. Like she says stuff like that everybody gets branded who's a conspiracy theorist as having that. And when you read her,
so do you think she's like a plant a little bit?
She's
like
either on purpose or she's just a useful idiot. And she's married to this British lord. I think she's going to move to the UK. But she says all the things that would get all of us banned that people go along with. And I don't think they watch all of her stuff. I think they see the clips. And I'm like, look, I wouldn't attach yourself to this person because this is not a good person. This is a person who has been nothing but she's been arrested for abuse in the past.
If I've learned anything, it's attach yourself to ideas, not people.
That's exactly right. Who cares
so
what mouth it comes out of? Analyze the information.
Yeah.
And so like that, where I stand on that is I don't know what the answer is. And from what you said, it's like, I don't care who says something. It's like, look at the information. And
Hitler could say, love your
that.
neighbor. And I'll be like, you know what? That's a good, I'm going to live by that. That's fine. Whatever. Or we agree. But it's not because he said it. I'm also not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. If he says, love your neighbor, I'm also not going to go like, you know what? Hitler said it. I'm going to fucking go shoot
Hitler
my
likes
neighbor.
dogs,
Like, because he was
the
a
same
bad
type
guy.
of shit.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing about the thing about, I think she is one of the, I don't know if she is on purpose. I think she doesn't care personally, but the discrediting of the alternative media with her being able to say things on YouTube on such a big platform, so many of them which have been put into these lawsuits against her. So people are like the Macron lawsuit. They're like, Macron's definitely a man, blah, blah, blah. And I always ask them, have you read the lawsuit? Have you read the defamation? Some of them don't even know. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, there's a 200-page court document. And it lays out all the claims against her. And that document doesn't even need the is Macron a man thing. It doesn't even, you could actually probably throw that one out, and I think she probably will lose. And that loss will be a precedent for free speech because in that document, it attaches stuff like she claimed the conspiracy about the vaccine. She was an so it claims real conspiracies, and it attaches them to things like Macron, the husband, the president, was part of the Stanford experiment.
This is what I was talking about earlier, where like you have one person that espouses a bunch of bullshit and then throws in like a true thing with it.
That's exactly right, to discredit.
And muddies the waters with it to discredit, the source or the cause. Yeah.
And I tell people that, and people who really love her call me a 7K shill. I'm like, you obviously have, like, I'm obviously the furthest thing from that. What I'm trying to tell you is that Bibi Netanyahu is her biggest fan. And
that should raise an eyebrow. Like I'm on the fence with her. Like I'm in the place because I'm just listening to you because I don't know a ton about her. Like I said, I've seen a handful of videos, but
I think she's the greatest like propagandist of our age.
That's interesting though, and like I'm interested in like where the money comes from and what her motivations are. But like I said, I've seen shit like she'll put a video out on Michael Jackson. I feel like that's like sort of like on the side, like it's not as part of the like current, you know.
I think there's truth to some of that. Then that's the difficult part is saying I think there's truth to something that I think is a propagandist. That's the whole thing. It's where it's like if you dislike
Alex Jones
somebody,
will say something. Sometimes you're like, oh, that's probably true, and then he'll also be a raging idiot the next minute, and you're like, oh God, like
it's
crazy. And I don't want to defend him as a person.
Yes.
Again, I will defend one idea at a time. One thing at a time, please. Like, he said this one thing that's true. Let's go into that. But people will be like, oh, but he said it. And I'm like, no, I don't care. Like, he could say that fucking strawberries or aliens. I don't care. Like
yeah, well, fuck strawberries as well.
Yeah, right. We need to blow them strawberries out of space.
To that point, where it's the best way. So Edward Bernays wrote about this 100 years ago. Is the people who are going to be sent to propagandize us are going to be the ones that we identify with and like the most, and are
Of
least
course, that's
likely to
that's the vessels that it would work through. Like
not the opposite one. So if you want to get somebody to believe something that's not true, you put it in the mouth of someone they're least likely to question. This influencer. If you want them to disbelieve something that is true,
yes,
you put it in the mouth of someone they don't like. So that's why it pisses me off when Tim Pool or Ben Shapiro or somebody says something that I've been saying for months because I can no longer say it.
Oh my God, dude, you're living my I understand. I'm not in the position that you are. I don't have like the the podcast and the audience and the same thing, but I even get frustrated. I was outlining a fucking book that I was going to write. This was years ago. And it was basically about like a whole, like a vaccine
9/11.
problem or whatever. What did you say?
9/11.
No, you would think actually. And then so I was like outlining this. It was going to be a goddamn trilogy. I was building this whole huge fucking thing I was going to write. And then fucking COVID happened, and I was like, I can't write this fucking book about vaccines. It was the whole fucking thing. It was like going to be the vaccines were the cure that they were already sitting on that they had, and they made the whole thing on purpose, and there was different fucking pharmaceutical companies, and it went into a whole different like
this is before the vaccines came
out. Dude, I was writing this in 2016 or something. I was like outlining it, but I was too fucking slow on it because I'm lazy, ADHD, whatever you want to call, and I was like still just kind of doodling on it. And then when this happened, it was really weird for me. I was like watching my own sort of creation come into reality. And if you listen to some of the like talks from like Philip K. Dick, for instance, like different like fantasy and sci-fi authors, he's one that he's kind of a weird one, but like was he the one that would take like ketamine and weird shit and like get into his space, and he would say that he was like more of a antenna receiver kind of a thing for ideas. He's like basically saying I write what comes to me, but he's like I'm tapping into like a possible future kind of a thing. Like he's he thought of himself as basically like an informant of a possible future, like a warning against kind of a storyteller, not like, which is interesting because we were talking about the ego earlier. And as an artist, I've kind of gone through some work with this myself where I'm like, am I coming up with it? Am I creating it? Or am I just kind of like tapping into something as well that's like, and honestly, I'm afraid to even talk about some of the other story ideas I've had that involve the fucking government and UFOs and aliens or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want that to come true. God damn it. I'm afraid to outline another book. Like, anyway. So I feel you on a different kind of side, like a creative side, where you're like, well, motherfucker, now I feel like I can't talk about this from this angle because now it's happening this way.
Not being able to talk about things has been the most disheartening thing to me to see in the alternative and conspiratorial and libertarian media is that being able to ask good questions and disagree and embracing nuance was what made those groups better. And that has disappeared, in my opinion, recently.
I used to even not mind NPR way back in the day, and now they've gone like full the one side kind of a thing. But there was a time when they asked questions and embraced nuance, and I was okay with that. You know, when I was a fucking kid, like because now I'm old apparently, like. But that's not the case anymore.
Well, we went off on a tangent, which was sanctioned by Jake.
Sanctioned by our leader, yeah.
I don't know. Nick, tell everybody you're running for office. Tell everybody what you're doing, where they can find you, and how they can help you.
Well, internal office.
No, wait, are we in go ahead and do it. Then
we'll So this weekend's the Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania convention. I'm running for state vice chair. If you're in Pennsylvania and a member, come on out and vote and support me. If you're not, if you're in Pennsylvania and not a member, it's too late for this year. But we are always looking for more people. We have candidates, we have people running. We're trying to, see what we can get with, running people. The, Pennsylvania is such a divided state. It's like the purplest of purple states.
The Eagles and the Steelers, man.
Yeah, I mean we're talking about I think one seat. I think it's a 1 seat difference in the House of Representatives. I think there's one more Republican representative than there is Democrat. Like it's that tight.
Wow, that's close.
Democrat governor. Like it's such a very tight thing that one state rep election can change. Can even not winning, but could it flip it? Is there influence, or you go after someone who's really really bad and make them lose? And there's a lot of things that could be done and targeted. Or the Pennsylvania, but PA has the I think it's the next to largest state legislature after New Hampshire. So we're huge as far as the number of reps, and they're full time and get paid like $120,000 a year.
Yeah,
to do who knows what. So there's a lot of room to play games there and see how you can influence it. And really to make that happen, to be effective, it takes people, it takes volunteers, it takes people willing to step up as candidates, people willing to help them in that, people willing to support. And yeah, you might not win, but you've got to take little steps where you can and try to get whatever wins you can. And I'm hoping that by stepping up and taking the role of vice chair, which the way the rules we have lay it out, kind of that position's focused on running a lot of operations internally. I already try to do a lot with that. So this is kind of me taking the formal title of a lot of the stuff that I do anyway right now. I'm trying to lay out, goals and have sort of more guidance so that when people step up to the volunteer, you have your teams that already exist, that we kind of have goals outlined. And then, the next step is to work with them to break it down into tasks and improve that, communication, both down from the board to them, like, hey, here's the expectations of how we want to see things go. And then also kind of get that progress report back, get that feedback loop, and allow that communication, that feedback to create a better,
improve
great tangible
process.
Results. Yeah, great tangible results. Try to create standard operating procedures and processes so that you're not reinventing the wheel every time someone burns out and steps out. Right. These are all problems you see whenever it's that you see people, they're in for a little bit. They either get so involved, they burn out that I can't do this anymore. And then you hope maybe in the future you can bring them back, or they, there's so much going on, they can't find a place. And then rather than engaging and doing something, they kind of just fade away. So
you're creating like a process that's sustainable for the future to people to plug into, as opposed to just something in the immediate.
That would be the goal. Yeah.
That's a good goal.
To try to professionalize in the operational aspect. It's hard, when you're talking about a lot of shitty work that no one ever wants to do needs to get done, right? Like no one wants to call people on hey, your membership's expiring, can we renew that? But that's something that's got to get done. We've got to have automated emails sending reminders, hey, your expiration date's coming up, little things that tell people, hey,
if AI can cure cancer, maybe it can do this.
Yeah, well, there's steps being taken, but we've
the
got
Democrats and Republicans definitely have that set up.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly. Well, you have people who professionally fundraise for them, professionally this, that, they're running on, their county parties operate on bigger budgets than we do as a state party.
Right.
That's just the way it is right now. But you try to do that, you get local wins, you build names in the community, right? You got to do the little things in order to get the big result. And the little things aren't easy, they're not fun, and they don't happen overnight. And that's what people fail to realize, and then just go, one presidential candidate can change everything. And it's like, maybe like if you have the right person, but like that right person's not Chase Oliver. The right person is never Chase Oliver.
All right, tell everybody again where to find your website one more time. Social media handle?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Nick Ciesielski. It's there. I don't really tweet all that much, but I don't try to be as public, right? I mean, I've run for office, right? In 2024, I ran for state treasurer as my first foray of being on the ballot. So I've done a little bit there, but I'm not always the one out in front. I don't need the recognition for this or that. I'm just trying to do do what I can to make things work.
Sounds like the right kind of guy for the job. So everybody check Nick out and support him if you're up in Pennsylvania. Alden, where can people find you or what you're working on?
Oh, I'm nowhere.
Nowhere. Alden is nowhere.
Yeah.
Except right here.
I'm here, I guess, on Thursdays. If you want to come yell at me, then I'm here.
Do you have a website? You don't have a social media you want to send people to? An email, an address?
I'm barely on social media. Yeah. I don't have a Twitter, or if I do, I don't remember. No.
Right. Well, all right. Well, check out Alden. You'll find him on Liberty.
If you can find me, let me know where I'm at.
Sometime, let him know. Let Alden know where he is. If you see him anywhere, document him. And Jake said to do this at the beginning of the show, which I immediately didn't do. You can find me, the Propaganda Report podcast, on any of your podcast listening apps, youtube.com/Brad Binkley, x.com, the Freedom Act Radio. You can find all my links and bios, no feet pics. And I'm on Rumble. I'm on all those platforms. And you can find me at the Helium Comedy Club on the 4th of April. I don't know what time. It's on their website.
Oh, that's cool. You stand up?
Tripoli. Yeah, I'll be opening for Sam, and he has another friend who's going to be featuring.
For Sam Tripoli?
Good time. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, Sam's great. We're going to be doing a show there and have good word. We might be going to Magic City afterwards, so maybe that'll be a good time to check it out.
Fuck yeah, man. That's super cool.
Check it out. And that's, yeah.
When is this?
This is April 4th.
No way.
It should be on the Helium Comedy Club website. I don't.
You better get some tickets and drive down there, Alden.
I might, dude.
Yeah, it'll be
That's
fun.
awesome.
It'll definitely be fun. So check that out. And Propaganda Fight is my website. Thank you for letting me host, Jake. And it was a good discussion, you guys. I know we went a little bit off topic, but it was fun. And I think we're going to wrap it up with the fun cooker. Is that?
Hey, Lindsay, why don't you just admit that you're gay and then people won't blackmail you anymore? Why don't you just admit that you're gay and people won't blackmail you anymore?
Fair enough.
It's a really good question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this one's not a video. Government, you have to inspect your car once a year for admissions. Also government.
Yeah, right. If you have a car that's over like 25 years of age, you don't have to get it inspected.
Then it's an antique like me.
This is how I celebrate St. Patrick's Day as an Englishman. First, you need to find yourself a traditional Irish pub. Mine's is a bit of a distance away, so naturally to make up for this, I'm going to go in the car. So I get myself ready, and then as we start the car...
That's terrible.
It's hilarious.
Oh my God, that's so funny, though. Oh,
yeah, it's true. It's true. R.I.P. R.I.P. that guy.
That's it for the night. Binkley.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Alden. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Jake. And we'll talk to you guys next time.